Welcome back to Morning Express. We are reviewing the week that has been, and in case you're joining us now, the guests that we have Mark Bichachi, Ndegwa Njiru, Mushiri Midhamo, and James Mamboleo. Mark, we cut you short, and I apologize for that, but you were articulating why you find that we are overreacting on Kenyatta National Hospital, this incident that happened.
Okay, let me give an example. 2 days ago, in the newspaper, The Standard, the Nairobi hospital is being sued for malpractice. Malpractice suits in this country are in every hospital. That's one. So if we understand that there is a problem within our healthcare, both private and public, and I do not want to mention the various cases, malpractice cases that are in other hospitals. The fact of the matter is this, that number one, human error does occur. It occurs in the legal profession, it occurs in the medical profession, it occurs everywhere. But there is a procedure which the CEO of any hospital is accountable to. If we were having a discussion where the CEO of this particular hospital did not go through those procedures, when an error occurs, not by her flaunting the rules, but by the nurses and doctors in charge flaunting the rules, we'll have another discussion. Second issue, Mamboleo, let me finish. Okay. Second issue, you have a CEO who has a quarter of the staff she needs, and even the doctors who are working in that procedure are not employees of Kenyatta. They're actually students and employed by the University of Nairobi. They are not even answerable to her directly. Let's continue, because we want to villainize people. Number three, we have never given her an operational budget to work with. We've never given her a budget to expand that hospital.
Why is she not resigned?
She not resigned. How can she oversee an institution that is not able to meet the targets?
Fine. When this stops being a shouting match, then we will talk. Continue.
All right. Let's proceed from there.
Let's talk procedure.
Yes.
You know, Mark, I think you're mixing issues. And the issues you're mixing are this. This the good lady was not told you are guilty of any of these things. She was told just pay some That is the procedure. That is how it's supposed to be. So as yet, as we speak, no one has decreed condemnation
that she's guilty
on her. Nobody has passed.
Have you read the papers?
A guilty verdict. But this is what we must say. Let me note here, very learned fellows like this one claiming that our public hospitals are understaffed, that the Kenyatta National Hospital is being run by students who are not even accountable to her. Why is she not resigned? She has to be able to perform the job or not. Now, this is the thing that I must tell you. Most of our hospitals, including Kenyatta National Hospitals, are running the most inefficient systems you can ever find. In fact, they cannot even account for the money they make themselves, okay? And they are making a lot of it, all right? So let us not substitute things like underfunding, budgets or budgetary problems
on which report are you basing?
Let me tell you.
Are you basing the fact? You're saying?
Are you telling the Kenyan public today that because I don't have as much budget as I would wish, I am going to open up everybody's stomach until you guys give me funding? I'm going to be opening
all right,
up
that's why your statement is ridiculous. It is ridiculous because out of 29,000, you're taking one to turn every.
Let me finish.
Secondly, there is no report.
Let me finish.
There is no report.
Let me finish in 1 minute.
Gentlemen, we'll need to hear one at a time, otherwise we'll not be able to communicate. Mamboleo, I need you to wind
I am not saying that some margin of error is not expected in any profession, including the medical profession. But when an institution gets onto the news every day for several months over several issues, there is a reason for us to go and ask, what is the problem? And I don't want a situation where every time something happens, you run to the smallest guy and fire him and say everything is
all right, Mamboleo,
go and deal with the management of that institution.
Deal with the man, and we'll come to the solution. And Mark, I'd like to hear what your idea of the problem is, because for you, the problem is not possibly the management, they're underfunded. But let me hear from Mushiri.
Maybe responding to what my friend has said here. Eh? One thing about the CEO, suspending or sacking the CEO is, in my view, a way of trying to cover up something. And that's why I'm trying to accuse.
But isn't that standard practice when there is an issue? Isn't that standard practice when there's
it is not.
And she's not fired.
For a certain university. So is that vice chancellor,
the vice chancellor
being
has
hounded
retired.
out of office for some reason?
The vice chancellor has retired. Now coming back to my point. Professional misconduct should be taken by the individual, the person who has committed that surgery.
In this case, the surgeon?
That is it. The surgeon should take that professional responsibility for his professional misconduct. You know, how do you target the CEO? Because the doctor has made a mistake. You see, what we are talking to do here is trying to...
But Mushiri, as much as the surgeon would take responsibility, but isn't there a system that should be in place that ensures that this does not happen?
But right now, Mike, we have been told that there is an investigation that is going on to investigate Koros. Investigating someone who has never been to a theater. Investigating someone who was never into that.
I would like to believe that it's a system that's being investigated, not just an individual.
I think I have a friend here who is a lawyer. We are investigating Koros over what?
I didn't say we're investigating Koros.
What did you say?
Investigations are being carried out to find out what the problem is. And you see...
That is true, but Koros cannot be a subject to this investigation.
Two people have been appointed to take care of the hospital instead of one. We expect that between those two people, these investigations now will be properly conducted, and if we find that Koros has no problem, she will get back to her position.
Mushiri, do you know why Koros is a subject in this matter?
From what point is
Do you know why Koros is a subject and why Kariuki is a subject? Because of the mutuetu mentality. It all boils to the question of mutuetu. When Koros is told to go for some leave and create room for investigations, people from the other side, they say, huyu ni mutuetu. When Kariuki is told, we are impeaching you for the decisions that you have taken, now people coalesce around their mutuetu mentality. And that is the problem we are having. May I say something, Mushiri, that do not just stop at Kenyatta. It gives us an opportunity to have a serious self-introspection of our public sector. And mark you, the Jubilee government has actually told us that one of the big four is to make sure that we have an admirable health sector, such kind of things will not merely happen because of negligence. May I say, the question here was not about even the doctor who operated, it was about the question of identification of the patient.
Who does that?
The person who identifies the patient is the system puts into place the mechanism to identify that particular,
all right, gentlemen,
patient.
I want us to maybe move away from this one incident, because this is a problem that is probably replicated in many other referral hospitals, and we need to zero in on what the exact problem is and how we solve it.
And this is my problem. When you're investigating a system, if you want to do a system audit, you have to base on the performance of the system. That's where numbers become important. This is not an emotional issue. The problem with this panel...
This is a very emotional issue.
Can I finish what I'm saying?
Yes, but
can
you allow him to finish? Allow him to finish.
My goodness.
Allow him to finish.
You see, let's understand one thing. We need to get to the point where I don't understand how a comedian in the United States does more research than Mamboleo here before he gives a story. Let's understand a few things. Number one, there have been audits of Kenyatta National Hospital. That hospital can account for its money. It is one of the institutions where the Auditor General has raised no queries in 4 years. So let's not just speak arbitrarily and say they can't account for the money because that's what we feel like. We need to get to a point where we sit here and understand that we are leaders. And as leaders, you're going to be able to deal with statistics that may not, that number one, you have to follow where the numbers lead.
But we have a problem in Kenyatta.
Let me explain. If there are 29,000 successful surgeries, you cannot base a decision on one that was based on human error upon which you can identify a person who refused to follow a process that has worked 29,000 times. The solution is this, that as a country, we need to revisit, number one, our referral system. Our referral system has failed, and that is why every day on the highways of Nairobi, you see ambulances going towards Kenyatta. Why aren't the county hospitals empowered? That's number one. The second thing, we have doctors who sign up to work for government hospitals. They show up once on a Friday to hang a coat, see 3 patients, and go to their private clinics. Why? Because that is corruption. We are corrupting the system off of our time. That one needs to be fixed. Doctors need to go to Kenyatta, to Mariakani Hospital, all these hospitals, and be physically present. That is what we need to be talking about. It is not about Cicely Karaoke. It is not about Lily Koros. It has to be about working on the system.
All right,
and
Mark.
if we're investigating the systems, we are fine, instead of being emotional.
We need solutions, gentlemen, and as we wind up Mamboleo, we wind up with your solutions. What do you think needs to be done?
Mike, it's extremely important to be very clear about what Mark is saying. Why? Because on the one side, he holds brief for Kenyatta National Hospital, but giving the solution that he's suggesting is actually taking blame back to them. Why are doctors going to Kenyatta National Hospital and hanging their coats and going away? Why aren't they being fired? What is the CEO doing about it? You know, that cannot be a problem of those doctors. It is a problem of the management. Let us understand something. Every time you see an institution being in the news for so many things about so many issues, there must be a problem. And I think we need to be extremely careful not to take the discussion from the systems at Kenyatta Hospital, which would also give us a window of opportunity at looking at the entire health system in the country and making this about somebody called Koros. It is nothing about Koros. It is about the systems at Kenyatta National Hospital. By the way, it was not about, don't talk about successful, 29,000 successful surgeries. That was not, the problem there was not a surgery. They conduct surgeries. Okay, that's all. The problem there was conducting a surgery on the wrong patient.
All right, I'll need your closing comments, Bwana Mushiri.
So, Bwana Mike, on this particular topic, maybe my closing remark on this particular topic. One thing, I think suspending Koros was erroneous. Two,
solutions. What solutions do you
solution at the KNH? Number one, we must scrap the outpatient services from the KNH. KNH should be an inpatient, should be a referral hospital. Actually, that is what it was built for. It was a referral hospital. Let the county health centers take care of the outpatient services. That's one. Two, the direction that has been taken by the MPs from the Rift Valley, seeking to safeguard, to protect Koros is wrong. It is based on tribal considerations. That one I do not support. I don't support them for that because now the direction they are taking us through is dangerous. We don't need to go that way.
All right, Jiro.
May I say something that it's very unfortunate for what happened in Kenyatta. The problem is merely an administrative one. So we must be able to fix the administrative sectors, not just in Kenyatta Hospital, but even in our other hospitals in the counties and other referral hospitals. May I also say that it also gives an opportunity to review our health sector policy. If you see a mushrooming number, a serious mushrooming of chemists, pharmacies, and the private hospital sector, it tells you that the public sector is not able to meet the demands in the market. Yet, we have this aspect of us having devolved the health sector. It gives the governors an opportunity to review their health sectors and their health policies, even at the counties. For one reason, health sector has become an expensive thing for the Kenyans to run. Every now and then, appeals are being made on the media and the social media for us to help our dear ones who are suffering. That tells you we have a serious problem. Can I say that it is now the high time that we have a serious collaboration of the county government and the national government to review the whole of the health sector policy and let Kenyans have a conversation. Because today it's that guy, tomorrow it's me. Nobody has the immunity that you will not fall sick tomorrow. So it must be a way, we must move to identifying the real issues, not just in Kenyatta, but in the whole health sector. Why are we having serious mushrooming of private health sector?
All right. Mark Bichachi, very briefly, your closing comments.
My closing comments are very simple. In as much as we'd like to argue Kenyatta has been in the news for bad things,
and the other hospitals that have not been.
It's also been in the news for good things. And the fact of the matter is this: the justice by acclamation that we like to do in this country, that we sit down and judge things without looking at the fact. Where were we when hands were being reattached? Where were we when conjoined twins were separated? The fact of the matter is this: it is wrong, it is irresponsible for learned individuals, including the two lawyers seated here, to say that Kenyatta is a death trap. Did those conjoined twins die? Did the hand that was reattached, did that happen? So we cannot paint with broad strokes the realities of life. I beg you, it behooves of you to pick up a book, pick up an actual study, instead of an opinion given to you by a newspaper. Read beyond there. Find out facts before you come and argue irresponsibly. Trevor Noah, who's a comedian, does more research before he speaks.
Mike, close down
All right.
the Standard Group. What Mark is saying is that the things you print.
No, but I'll give you an example. Let me give an example.
We were not yet holding one's brief.
You're suggesting that even the newspapers we have possibly lack depth. But anyway, that's a story for another day.
I can give proof. I can give.
That's a story for another day. Yet you have an article that you print on the same newspaper, so you should stop printing and open your own a printing press. Anyway, gentlemen, we'll have to wind up.
And you tell him, we were not yet holding one's brief. If he was under instructions to hold brief, we didn't come to.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to wind up. Thank you very much, Mark Bichachi. We have Ndegwa Njiru, Mushiri Midhamo, and James Mamboleo for joining us this morning and reviewing the week. We've hardly even moved from Kenyatta National Hospital. There was a lot more that was happening, but it just shows you how important that must have been and needs to be sorted out. For now, we take a short break. When we come back, we've got entertainment news and find out what's happening in the entertainment world.